Two hitmen seem to have been assigned the same target. One of them recognizes the other as the silent assassin. He curses his luck. Of all people, he had to end up competing with a big shot for this job. Still, he's not about to back down. They both knew what they were signing up for when they entered this line of work. A fierce battle breaks out. The nameless assassin is sure he's landed more hits, but against the silent assassin, that doesn't matter. He's ultimately defeated, and just before being finished off, he curses his luck one last time. Then, the silent assassin moves in to eliminate his target, but we don't see whether he actually does it. Instead, the scene shifts to a classroom, where a group of students is chatting and going about their day. One student is invited by his friends to go shopping and visit a cafe after school, but he declines, saying he needs to finalize the club budgets. He's always busy. That's the life of the student council after all. He promises to join them next time. Meanwhile, our protagonist, the silent assassin, Oda, is quietly reading a light novel in class when a classmate approaches him, saying he's read that one too. The classmate asks if Oda likes isekai stories, but Oda replies that he just reads whatever he can find for free. The guy laughs and says Oda should let him know if he has any good recommendations, free ones, of course. Once Oda is alone again, he reflects that he's always been aware of how easily he fades into the background, so someone talking to him in class felt like a minor crisis. But that feeling wouldn't last long. It would soon be replaced by a real one. Strange symbols suddenly appear all over the classroom, and before anyone can react, Oda and his classmates are transported somewhere else. Everyone is confused. Was that an attack? Where are they? A man steps forward and announces that His Royal Majesty would like to speak with them. The king greets them warmly, thanking them for answering his call from their distant world. He explains that this new realm is called Morrigan, and they now stand in the human kingdom of Redis, the largest nation on the human continent. Redis is under attack by demons, and only a hero from another world possesses the power to defeat the demon lord. The king wishes to identify the hero among them. There will be only one. Each student is instructed to place a hand on a crystal orb. If they silently think the word status, they will see their class. One by one, the students comply. Even those who aren't the hero discover that their starting stats are far above those of ordinary people in this world. They're certain they'll go down in history alongside the chosen hero. They also learn that by saying status without the orb, they can view their stats privately. Oda tries this and discovers his class is assassin, but something's off. His stats are vastly different from everyone else's. When the smart, athletic, and popular student council president Sato is revealed to be the hero, Oda notices that his own stats are still strangely higher than Sato's. Only a few students remain untested, and Oda realizes this could become dangerous. He knows nothing about this world, not even whether the king's story about a demon lord is true. Revealing his abnormal stats now could cause serious problems. Thinking quickly, he activates one of his skills, Conceal Presence. It works. He vanishes completely from everyone's sight. Meanwhile, the evaluations conclude. The king announces that now that he knows everyone's classes, he will provide them with suitable equipment and private rooms for the night. Still hidden, Oda follows the group and notices something unsettling. Strange devices resembling cameras. They're being watched. Clearly, something here isn't what it seems. After that, Oda finds a room no one has bothered to clean, so he figures no one will come by to disturb him. He needs information, so he heads out with his Conceal Presence skill still active. That's when he finally gets a good look at the scenery, and it hits him. They really are in another world. He also realizes he now possesses incredible athletic ability. It seems he received the typical summoning bonus. While wandering around, Oda overhears the king speaking with the princess about the brats. The princess dismissively says they're just children from a world without magic. They won't be a threat. The king replies, "Proceed as planned then. They're not to enter the castle archives. We can't have them learning too much." After the princess leaves, Oda slips into the king's room. He admits he doesn't know exactly what the king is after, but he's sure it's nothing good. He could easily kill him right then and there, yet in the end, he chooses not to. The next day, Oda wonders if he should reveal himself and tell his classmates what he overheard last night, but how could he possibly make them believe him? Just then, Sato gathers everyone and says they all need to be on the same page. Since coming to this world, they've all grown stronger, so shouldn't they use that power to help the people here? He wants to defeat the Demon Lord, just as His Majesty requested, and asks for everyone's cooperation. Naturally, they all agree. Oda realizes they're assuming the king and princess are their allies. After breakfast, the students are summoned to meet the kingdom's knight commander, Mithray. He greets them as his little heroes and announces that their training begins today. In 1 month, they'll enter a dungeon to test their strength. But instead of training them himself, he delegates that task to his assistant. Then, Mithray suddenly approaches Oda and asks what's wrong. Oda is stunned. How can Mithray even see him? He hasn't dismissed his concealed presence. Seeing his confusion, Mithray explains that the skill is still active. It's just that his eyes are a bit special. They're mystical, capable of perceiving temperature differences. He assures Oda that he won't tell the king or the princess, so he can relax. Oda is puzzled. Isn't Mithray supposed to be on their side? But Mithray simply says it's complicated. As they talk, Mithray learns that Oda wants to access the archives because he knows nothing about this world, not about its magic, skills, or anything else. His conceal presence skill is maxed out, but most of his other skills are still level 1, and he has no idea how to improve them. Mithray offers to teach him if he's interested, adding that Oda won't find what he's looking for in the archives anyway. Oda admits that he's been hyped ever since arriving. This is the kind of world he's only ever seen in fiction. But even so, he has to find a way back home. His family is waiting for him. Unfortunately, Mithray doesn't know of any way to return to his world. Still, he tells Oda that he'll need to get stronger regardless. If he dies before finding a way home, everything will have been for nothing. At the very least, Mithray says, he can help Oda become an excellent assassin. Oda hesitates, saying he doesn't like accepting favors for free. Mithray smiles and replies that he can repay him by telling him stories about his own world. He's eager for something new. Mithray starts Oda's training by explaining that, in addition to humans and demons, this world also has elves and beast folk. Each race lives on a different continent. Then the physical training begins. Mithray explains that you can only level up your class by killing monsters, but skills can be leveled through training. Later, Mithray talks with his assistant. The assistant reports that Oda's progress is satisfactory, but mentions that his workload has become heavy because Mithray is focusing entirely on Oda. Then Oda walks into the room, and Mithray's assistant quietly leaves. Oda says he happens to crave new knowledge himself, so he's been sneaking into the archives every night to read. That's where he found a strange little book, one that turned out to contain plans for a coup. Mithray admits he wrote it himself and disguised it as a recipe book to hide it there. The king, he explains, is broken beyond repair. He's willing to pay a terrible price to change the very rules of their world. They can't allow that to happen. However, the knights owe a deep debt to the royal family. Oda says he could tell from reading the book that Mithray wants a peaceful end to the king's reign. A month later, it's finally time for the students to enter the Great Labyrinth. They fight monsters for a while, but on their way back, they encounter a minotaur, a creature that shouldn't even appear on the upper floors. Their swords shatter the moment they strike it. The monster is far beyond their ability to handle. To make matters worse, the hero seems to have been cursed. He's losing his mind, and both of his arms are broken. While a classmate works to dispel the curse, Oda steps forward and takes command. He tells Mithray that he's going to use his magic. It's the only way he'll survive. It seems this is something they had already discussed, because Mithray also joins in, attacking the beast with his own magic and setting everything up for Oda to unleash his shadow magic. This magic erupts from the ground, trapping the Minotaur and pulling him into an underground portal. Once the creature's neck reaches the threshold, Oda closes the portal, beheading the beast. Later, back at the castle, Mithray praises Oda and credits him as the reason they all survived. Oda, however, insists that Mithray deserves the credit for helping him control his magic when it nearly overwhelmed him during their training. Mithray explains that the shadow magic is an incredibly powerful extra skill, but it is difficult to master and drains the user's energy quickly. He advises Oda to use it only when it is absolutely necessary. Aside from the training advice, Mithray brings a special gift, a katana forged by the very first hero. When Oda asks why this legendary blade isn't going to the current hero, Mithray explains that the hero already has a holy sword. Furthermore, if the hero carried this katana, the king would notice, which would be a problem because Mithray actually stole the weapon from the royal armory. Oda accepts the blade, noticing the name God of the Nightblade engraved near the handle. An inscription on the sword speaks to a successor, offering guidance in a time of need. Oda feels a connection to the original hero and wishes he could have met him. Mithray and Oda then discuss the hero, Sato, who is suffering from a powerful curse that refuses to break. Suspecting the princess is responsible, Oda goes to her room that same night. He finds her using a crystal to maintain the curse and cuts it in half. Oda then confronts the princess, questioning why she follows the king's orders so blindly. She offers no real answers, simply repeating that everything she does is for the king. After Oda leaves, the princess opens a closet, revealing that she possesses a separate crystal for every student. Mithray later meets with Oda and confirms that the princess is merely a puppet herself. He warns Oda not to sleep in the royal castle that night. He explains that the princess is planning to curse everyone except the hero to keep them under her control. Since she knows nothing about Oda, she cannot curse him, but she will likely try to have him killed instead. When Oda asks if Mithray intends to scold him for revealing himself to the princess, Mithray shows a fatherly side, telling Oda that it is an adult's responsibility to fix the mistakes of the youth. Oda admits he wishes there were more adults like Mithray in his own world. In response, Mithray jokingly asks Oda to take him along when he eventually returns home. Early the next morning, the castle is in an uproar. Oda emerges to find his classmates and the knights gathered in a state of shock. He learns the terrible news. Commander Mithray has been murdered. To Oda's horror, the knights point to the dagger lodged in the body, a weapon that looks exactly like the one Oda uses. All the knights immediately accuse him. They bring up his mysterious disappearances and his sudden arrivals in the dungeon as proof that he is untrustworthy. The king then declares Oda a murderer and sentences him to death. Realizing he has been set up, Oda uses his conceal presence skill to vanish and escape the immediate area. While hiding, he encounters the vice commander, who reveals that Mithray was actually killed by the king's personal assassins, the Night Ravens, and that they are now coming for Oda. The vice commander explains that Mithray, anticipating this danger, had left supplies for him in his room. He urges Oda to flee for his life. Oda is heartbroken by the loss of his mentor, but realizes he must survive to honor Mithray's memory. In the throne room, the king and the princess reveal their true dark intentions. They have successfully cursed the hero's party members to turn them into effective pawns for the coming war. They plan to declare war on the East and use the heroes as their primary weapons. The king also orders the Night Ravens to pursue and kill Oda just to be safe. Meanwhile, Oda remembers Mithray's advice. If he is ever on the run, a dungeon is the best place to hide and get stronger. So he enters the dungeon, knowing that he needs to reach level 100 to unlock a special survival skill. He works on his assassination skill to mask his scent and footsteps, as monsters in the deep floors can smell and hear better than humans. He eventually reaches a boss chamber. In these rooms, no one can leave until either the challenger or the boss is dead. Oda goes all out with his shadow magic, but the fight leaves him severely injured. His magic automatically enters a recovery mode, using his remaining energy to heal his broken ribs and the poison in his system. While Oda recovers in the dungeon, Sato and a small group of students leave the kingdom to fight the Demon Lord. All the students in this group are free from the princess's curse. One student explains that she is a disenchanter with a natural resistance to magic spells. Another student mentions a blurry memory of using a mysterious katana to break crystals in a hidden room. From the shadows, the vice commander watches them go. He reveals that he used his own manipulation skill to break the princess's hold on them, fulfilling Commander Mithray's final wish to keep the students safe. Back in the dungeon, Oda wakes up and is surprised to find that his body no longer hurts. He knows he cannot stay in one place, so he decides to push deeper into the dungeon. On the 75th floor, he discovers a beautiful elf lying unconscious. He uses a dangerous skill called World Eyes to check her status and sees that she is nearly dead, with only 2% of her health remaining. Despite his own exhaustion, he carries her to a nearby watering hole. When she finally wakes up, she is defensive and confused. Oda ignores her harsh words and takes care of her, making her food and ensuring she stays hydrated. He realizes she is also a user of World Eyes and is actually royalty. She eventually calms down, surprised that someone would go to such lengths to help her. Eventually, Oda and the elf continue their journey, but the elf remains stubborn. She insists that she doesn't need his protection and can handle herself. Their conversation is cut short when they enter a boss chamber and face a massive dragon. The elf warns Oda that the dragon can track his magic. She tells him to hide his energy by spreading it into the air, but Oda says that is too difficult for him. Instead, he tries a new trick. He grabs the magic already floating in the room and uses it to strike a killing blow. As the dragon falls, its body begins to glow with a strange, bright light. As the blinding light from the defeated dragon finally fades, Oda and Emilia are shocked to see what remains. Instead of a massive beast, a big black cat lies on the ground. It is weak and hurt, but it is still alive. Emilia explains that this creature has a special skill that allows it to change its shape. It is not a real dragon, but a monster known as a black cat. The cat then begins to speak, surprising them both. It admits that it changed into a dragon just for fun because it saw one once, but it took the game too far. The cat tells them not to treat it like a mindless beast, as the Demon Lord created it to be highly intelligent. Despite its proud words, Oda points out that the cat is too injured to move. The cat accepts its fate, but insists on delivering a message from the demon lord first. The message is an invitation for Oda to come to a castle in the land of demons. Oda is confused and worried about how this powerful enemy already knows who he is. The cat asks Oda to kill it, believing that monsters and humans must always be enemies. Oda refuses. He admits that he simply loves cats and thinks this one has a beautiful coat. He also appreciates that he can actually talk to this monster. Emilia reminds him that they cannot leave the boss room unless the monster dies or a different solution is found. She suggests a monster pact, which would make the cat Oda's partner. This is a very dangerous ritual that requires perfect control of magic. If it fails, both of them could die. Oda decides to take the risk because he is annoyed by how little the cat cares about its own life. He gives the cat the name Night because of its dark fur. As the ritual begins, Oda's mind enters the cat's soul. He finds himself in a dark town where a massacre is happening. The version of the cat inside this dream tries to force Oda to fight and kill it, but Oda refuses to strike back. He tells the cat that it doesn't have to live a life of destruction anymore. He promises to watch over it and make sure it never has to kill again. The ritual is a success, and their souls become linked. Night swears his loyalty to Oda, and the three of them prepare to leave the dungeon through a teleportation circle. Far away from the dungeon, Sato and his group of classmates arrive in a land called Yamato. The area looks exactly like Japan, which makes the students feel very happy and nostalgic. They explore the town, wearing traditional clothes, eating seafood bowls, and enjoying the hot springs. It is a peaceful break from their dangerous journey. However, Sato soon calls a meeting to discuss their plans. They are running low on money, so they decide to register as adventurers to find work. Asahina suggests that they should stay in this land for a while and wait for Oda. His intuition tells him that Oda is much stronger than all of them, and that they will need his help to defeat the Demon Lord. Some students are nervous because they still think Oda might be a murderer, but Asahina reminds them that their memories were messed up by a curse. Sato agrees to wait, but points out that Oda is a loner who doesn't understand teamwork. He believes they should focus on getting stronger themselves so they can eventually stand on the same level as Oda. Back in the boss chamber, Oda, Emilia, and Night share stories about their pasts while they rest. Emilia talks about how she had to flee her homeland and was nearly eaten by a slime before meeting Oda. She feels she has no home to go back to. Oda shares a rare moment of honesty, talking about his mother's illness and how he worked extra jobs to support his little sister. He admits he wants to go home more than anything, but he cannot leave until he finds the people who murdered Commander Mithray. Emilia warns him that teleportation circles can be unpredictable and often respond to the wishes of the person using them. Oda thinks about wishing for a return to his peaceful days, but he pushes the thought away because his mission isn't finished. When they finally step through the circle, they are transported to a massive forest. Emilia recognizes the holy tree and realizes they are in the land of the elves. She is upset because this is exactly where she didn't want to go. Immediately, an elf confronts Emilia, calling her a criminal who abandoned her people. Oda quickly steps in to protect her, but they are soon surrounded by more elves. Emilia's sister, Kilika, also appears. She calls Emilia a child of blight and tells her she will pay for her past sins. Oda realizes he has walked right into a massive and dangerous family feud. To understand the deep-seated resentment burning in Kilika's eyes, the story returns to the childhood of the two princesses, a time when Emilia is still enjoying a peaceful life among her people. She walks through a field with several guards following closely behind her. She tells them that she is perfectly capable of taking a walk on her own, but the guards insist that they cannot take any chances while the king is away on business. During her walk, she spots her sister training hard with a group of soldiers. Emilia watches with genuine admiration, remarking that Kilika is much more impressive than she is because she works to improve her skills every single day. However, her guards remind her that while Kilika is indeed impressive, it is Emilia who is destined to lead the nation as the future ruler. In another memory, a man named Liam approaches Emilia to tell her that he wants to end their engagement. Emilia replies that the decision was not her own and tells him to take it up with her father. Kilika arrives shortly after and bluntly tells her sister that Liam does not want to marry her because she is the child of blight. The situation escalates until one day, Kilika and a group of armed warriors surround Emilia. They accuse her of committing a sin that cannot be forgiven. Emilia tries to defend herself, saying she did nothing wrong, but the warriors shout that a child of blight cannot be the heir to the throne. They declare that the crown belongs to Princess Kilika instead. In the present day, the two sisters stand face to face, surrounded by tension. Emilia tells Kilika that she is willing to leave the kingdom immediately and asks to be let go. Kilika scoffs at the request, telling her sister that she has no right to ask for anything because of who she is. This is when Oda steps in, casually asking Kilika to calm down. Kilika is offended by his presence and asks who he is and why he would choose to protect a criminal. Oda introduces himself as a friendly neighborhood assassin who has recently become friends with Emilia. Kilika turns her anger back toward Emilia, accusing her of wounding Liam and adding yet another crime to her long list. Oda questions these accusations, asking exactly what Emilia has done to deserve being called a criminal. To prove her point, Kilika pulls back her sleeve to reveal a patch of purple poisoned skin on her arm. She claims that Emilia gave her poison while pretending it was a healing potion. She reminds everyone that harming a member of the royal family is a crime, even for another royal. Emilia is horrified and insists that it truly was a healing potion she gave her. Kilika asks Oda if he sees the truth now, accusing Emilia of lying to hurt others. She then thanks Oda for returning a fugitive to them. Kilika approaches Oda and looks him directly in the eyes. Emilia recognizes the danger and screams for Oda not to look at her sister. Kilika tells her it is too late, because she has already activated her mesmerize skill. She boastfully claims that Oda's heart now belongs to her and that Emilia has nobody left to take her side. Emilia demands that Kilika apologize and stop the skill immediately, arguing that only Oda has the right to decide how he feels and acts. Kilika is surprised by this outburst, noting that Emilia has never snapped at her like that before. However, Oda remains completely calm and tells them to settle down because the skill had no effect on him at all. Kilika is shocked that her magic failed. Oda's cat explains that mind control skills do not work on someone who is at a much higher level than the caster. Kilika refuses to believe that a stranger could be stronger than her. Oda tells her she can call him whatever she wants once she admits to framing her sister, as he finds it impossible to believe Emilia would ever lie to hurt someone. Enraged, Kilika orders her soldiers to kill him. Before the soldiers can fire their bows, the king arrives and commands them to put their weapons away. Kilika is startled by her father's early return from his inspection. The king demands to know what is happening, and when a soldier tries to blame Emilia, the king silences him, insisting that Kilika explain herself. Kilika tries to act as though she did nothing wrong, and that Emilia is the one at fault, but the king realizes the truth. He realizes that Kilika has used her mesmerize skill on the entire group of soldiers. He orders her to dismiss the magic at once, promising that her punishment will come later. The king turns to Oda and apologizes for his daughter's cowardly behavior and her attempt to overwhelm him with numbers. He then tells Oda that since the matter is settled, he should leave. Emilia tries to tell her father that Oda helped her and brought her home safely, but the king remains cold, stating that other races are not allowed to set foot in elven lands. Emilia decides that if Oda must leave, she will go with him, stating she should not be there anyway. The king tells her she is wrong if she thinks she can just walk away, reminding her that she is his successor and it is her duty to lead the kingdom. Oda stands up for Emilia, saying she has the right to choose her own path. The king tells the outsider to stay out of it, but Oda says he has no reason to listen to the king and will do whatever it takes to protect Emilia's choice. A high-ranking elf whom Oda had defeated earlier wakes up and apologizes to the king for his disgrace. The king realizes Oda was telling the truth about his strength and decides to challenge him to a duel. He explains that the winner of the fight will have the final say in Emilia's future. According to elven tradition, the duel must take place beneath the holy tree, and Kilika will fight as the king's proxy. As they walk toward the tree, Emilia apologizes to Oda for dragging him into her family's mess. Oda tells her not to worry about it because he chose to get involved. He asks her about the Child of Blight title. Emilia explains an elven legend that says, when twins are born, if one does not look like the parents, they are a child of blight destined to bring disaster. Oda is surprised to learn they are twins. His cat mentions that the practice of killing the blighted twin was supposed to be a myth of the past. Emilia confirms that while the legend is old, the fact that her hair and eyes do not match her parents is undeniable. Oda tells her that he actually thinks her hair and eyes are very pretty, which leaves her speechless. Once they reach the holy tree, Emilia warns Oda that Kilika is the best swordsman in the kingdom and tells him to be careful. Oda notices that Emilia still holds her sister in high regard. Emilia admits that they used to be very close and that she knows how hard Kilika works. Under the tree, the king tells Kilika to prove she is a worthy royal by handling this situation. Kilika notices that Oda has not even unsheathed his sword and asks if he really thinks he can beat her like that. Oda tells her he is simply worried he might accidentally kill her if he uses his full power. Kilika takes this as an insult, seeing the duel as her chance to regain her father's trust. Oda tells Emilia to stay back and promises that once he wins, she will be free to do whatever she wants. The duel begins, and it quickly becomes clear that Kilika cannot even touch Oda. He acknowledges that she is skilled, but he easily avoids all her attacks. He asks her to surrender before she gets hurt, but she refuses to be mocked. She activates a wind element magic buff to increase her speed, which Emilia explains is the only magic Kilika has mastered through extreme focus. As they fight, Oda asks Kilika why she is crying. She tries to hide her emotions behind a fake smile, but Oda sees right through it. He tells her that Emilia still cares for her and asks why they can't just make up. Kilika screams that she could never make peace with the girl who took everything from her. She reveals her deep resentment, explaining that when they were children, a spirit medium appraisal revealed that Emilia had the power to bend the world to her will. From that day on, Kilika felt that everyone stopped caring about her. She believes she must keep fighting until she takes back the life she thinks Emilia stole. In the middle of the battle, Liam approaches Emilia and gives her a branch from the holy tree, telling her to use its purifying power to save Kilika. Emilia uses the branch to cancel out Kilika's magic. Kilika feels her mesmerized skill coming undone and panics, thinking she is about to lose everything again. At that moment, Oda defeats her. He tells her that she isn't ignored by everyone. She is just blind to the people who actually do notice her. Kilika realizes that Liam is no longer under her control and assumes he ran back to Emilia the moment his mind was free. However, Emilia tells her that Liam was never under the effect of the skill in the first place. Kilika is confused and asks to be punished, expecting exile or execution. The king steps forward and says that if anyone deserves punishment, it is him. He reveals that Emilia never took anything from Kilika and that the current situation is his fault. He uses a skill to restore Kilika's lost memories, dismissing a forgetting skill he had placed on her years ago. A flashback shows a young Kilika training in secret. A mysterious figure gave her an item that summoned powerful monsters inside a dungeon. The monsters were too strong, and they attacked her and Liam. Liam died right in front of her eyes while trying to protect her. The guilt of his death was so great that it threatened to destroy Kilika's mind. To save her, the king made her forget the incident. He explains that Emilia used her secret spirit medium powers to save the day, creating new magic skills like gravity and resurrection to bring Liam back and stop the monsters. The king explains that the reason everyone seemed to distance themselves from Kilika wasn't because of Emilia's gift, but because everyone else knew the truth about the accident and didn't want Kilika to find out. They walled themselves off to protect the secret. The king had hoped the duel would give Kilika a sense of royal pride before he told her the truth, but he was forced to reveal it early. Liam explains that he helped exile Emilia only because he wanted to separate the sisters before their hatred grew too deep. He reveals he was immune to the mesmerize skill because a leaf from the holy tree had entered his body during his resurrection. Kilika breaks down in tears, realizing that she had blamed her sister for everything while Emilia was actually the one who had fixed all her mistakes. Emilia comforts her, telling her she still thinks she is amazing and kind. The two sisters finally reconcile with a tearful apology. After the emotional resolution, Oda asks the king if he is the winner of the duel. The king agrees and throws a party in Oda's honor. He confirms that Emilia is now free to do as she pleases. Oda shares his plan to travel to the Beastfolk continent because his familiar told him it is the best place to find and upgrade weapons. Emilia pulls Oda aside and asks him to call her by her name. She tells him not to call her you or this one anymore. Oda calls her by her name several times, which makes her incredibly happy. She declares that she will follow him wherever he goes and that they will be together forever. Oda accepts her company, and they prepare to leave. Meanwhile, the group led by the hero has already set sail. They realize they couldn't wait for Oda any longer, and are also heading toward the continent of the Beastfolk to upgrade their weapons, setting the stage for their paths to cross again. The morning sun rises over the Elven Kingdom as everyone gathers to say their final goodbyes to Emilia. Kilika looks at her sister with newfound warmth, telling her that she is welcome to return home whenever she wishes. Nearby, Liam approaches Oda, asking him to take special care of the princess during their travels. Oda simply encourages Liam to keep doing his own work as well. The king watches them, noting that now that Liam's romantic feelings for Kilika are clear, the future of their relationship rests in her hands. The king offers a squad of soldiers to escort the pair to the port, citing reports of recent kidnappings along the coast. He explains that he has just returned from an inspection regarding these disappearances and remains deeply concerned. While Emilia insists that Oda is strong enough to protect them, the king admits that it is only natural for a parent to worry and that he would go with them himself if he could. As the carriage rattles toward the coast, Oda turns his attention to Knight. He asks why the creature was so unusually quiet and well-behaved around the Elven King. Knight explains that very few people in this world look kindly upon demons or monsters, so he chose to stay subdued to avoid causing trouble for Oda. Oda jokes that Knight was trying not to let the secret out, but he warns her that being too well-behaved might actually upset the Demon Lord, who is currently watching through Knight's eyes and ears. Knight clarifies that while her senses are linked to her former master, the Demon Lord does not dictate her actions, and she has no intention of betraying Oda. Emilia joins the conversation, suggesting that perhaps the Demon Lord wants to be friends with Oda because of how impressive he was in the battle against Kilika. Knight agrees, noting that Oda's ability to use shadow magic and even clothe himself in it, a state she calls shadow-clad, has definitely caught the Demon Lord's interest. Oda admits he only did it in the heat of the moment to ensure he didn't accidentally kill Kilika, but he finds the name shadow-clad to be quite cool. Suddenly, Oda's detect presence skill triggers. He orders the carriage to stop just as a group of kidnappers emerges from the brush, holding a young elven child hostage. The criminals demand that the group tie themselves up, threatening the child's life. However, their eyes widen when they see Emilia's hair color, realizing she is royalty. They boast that a man named Lord Graham will be overjoyed with such a valuable prize. Oda doesn't give them a chance to act. He hides his presence and moves with lethal speed, quickly neutralizing the threat. He tells his own escort to tie the kidnappers up instead. After freeing the child, Oda questions the captives. He learns that they were indeed planning to offer Emilia to Lord Graham, who is apparently a royal in Uruk, the largest nation on the Beast Folk continent. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Oda tells the elven guards to take the criminals back to the palace. He decides they will go the rest of the way alone, as he can already smell the salt of the sea in the air. The pair eventually boards a ship, and Emilia is bursting with excitement. It is her first time on the open water, and she eagerly looks forward to watching the sunset and the stars with Oda. However, her romantic mood is dampened when she finds Oda buried in a book. He explains that the Elven King gave him several volumes from his personal library as a parting gift, and he is eager to catch up on his reading. Emilia pouts, calling her father a jerk for giving him such a distraction, and calling Oda a jerk for ignoring her. When they finally dock at the port town of on the continent of Brute, the atmosphere is noticeably different. Oda observes that humans seem to be relegated to doing all the heavy labor. It doesn't take long for trouble to find them. A group of beast folk approaches, telling Oda to leave the elf behind and get lost. They mock the idea of a puny human standing up to them. Oda, wanting to avoid a large scene, uses his magic to temporarily blind the thugs, allowing him and Emilia to slip away. Knight praises his master for handling the situation without a messy fight. As they walk through the streets, they notice that the locals look at Knight with genuine fear. Knight explains that on this continent, black cats are despised and feared for a very complicated reason. Later that evening, after a large dinner, the group arrives at an inn. Seeing only 2 large beds, Emilia playfully suggests they might only need 1. Oda, missing the hint, points out that since 2 are available, they should use both. Knight, being more perceptive, tells them she's going to head out for a while to see someone, leaving the 2 of them alone. Emilia takes the opportunity to head to the shower, but by the time she returns, Oda has already fallen fast asleep. She gives him a gentle goodnight kiss and climbs into the bed beside him. The next morning, Knight returns with a visitor, a rugged beast man named Crow. Knight introduces him as a master smith whose services she enlisted the previous night. Crow admits he only came because he was summoned by the Nightmare of Adlia, a title that clearly refers to Knight. Oda introduces himself and Emilia, and Crow asks to see Oda's weapon. He correctly guesses that the blade was overused in the Great Labyrinth and says he can fix it if provided with the right money and materials. When Oda also asks for 20 specialized assassin tools, Crow scoffs, telling Oda he looks too inexperienced to use anything he forges. Emilia tries to defend Oda, but Knight interrupts to reveal that Crow was once a member of the last hero's party. This revelation shocks the group. Crow hands over a list of necessary materials and an estimate of the cost, telling them to return when they are ready. Later, Oda decides to head to the local labyrinth to hunt for the materials and funds, while Emilia asks for a moment to speak with Crow privately. At the smithy, Emilia asks Crow to teach her how to fight. She admits that the gap between her strength and Oda's is too large, and she refuses to be a burden. Crow flatly refuses, saying all his previous students were failures who broke under his training. Then, Knight and Crow discuss the past. Knight reveals the dark origin of her nickname, the Nightmare of Adlia. A century ago, consumed by her demonic instincts, Night lost control during a mission for the Demon Lord and decimated the city of Adlia. This single act of violence is why black cats are feared across the continent. Crow shares his own tragic story. He was at his sister's grave when he first met Night years ago. He explains that his sister didn't die because of the Demon Lord or Night. She died because of a royal named Graham Cluster. During the chaos of the city's destruction, Graham was in such a hurry to escape that he used magic to blow up his own people who were blocking his carriage's path. Crow's sister was among those killed by their own leader. Amelia, listening to the story, tells Crow that she feels sorry for his sister because Crow is using her memory as an excuse for his own cowardice, running away from the world instead of facing his pain. While Oda is planning to sneak into the labyrinth using his conceal presence skill, chaos erupts. A swarm of monsters suddenly pours out of the labyrinth and into the town. Amelia immediately jumps into action, slowing the beast down and ordering Night to help the civilians escape. As she holds the line, a mysterious figure named Aurum appears. Amelia recognizes him as the person who tricked her sister into summoning monsters years ago. Aurum explains that the Demon Lord ordered him to spare Amelia, but demands that she behave. Night realizes too late that Amelia has been abducted and taken deep into the labyrinth. He contacts Oda via telepathy, apologizing profusely for failing to protect her. For the first time in his life, Oda is consumed by an overwhelming, intense rage. The realization hits him like a physical blow. Amelia is someone he holds incredibly dear, and the thought of her being taken is unbearable. Determined to end the threat immediately, he unleashes a massive wave of shadow magic known as Shadow Hell, wiping out every monster in the vicinity. As the strain of the massive spell causes him to lose consciousness, his final thoughts are only of saving the girl he loves.